Brought to you by Hyundai. Hyundai leaves the rest wanting. Find out why by visiting buyhyundai.com today. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By Cholula Hot Sauce, the flavorful hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap, introduces the new green pepper sauce flavor. Pick up the perfect punch of jalapeno and poblano today. And by New York Community Bank and NYCB family of banks. Visit them on the web at mynycb.com. Get to Citi Field for Fan Appreciation Weekend. Mets take on the Astros this Sunday at 1:10. It'll be the first 20,000 fans receiving a Casey Stengel bobblehead, courtesy of SNY and WR. And all the fans will receive a 2015 magnetic schedule presented by Hyundai. That's a good day. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. We start you off with the AT&T photo of the day, and here it is. The reveal is there. That's cool. A dad and a young fan here at Nationals Park as the Mets get set to take on the Nationals and see if they could take a series from their nemesis. Get the binoculars out. Get some guys warming up in the outfield. Never know what you'll see. I know this. We've got the first pitch coming up in just a moment with Gary and Ron. We're coming back to D.C. next.
And we're back for more. This is Ron. I'm Gary. It's nice to have you back in D.C. Mets won this afternoon 7-4, 3 hours and 31 minutes. Mets rallying late, using their legs in the 8th inning, and now a chance for 2 wins in one day against the team they have the most trouble beating.
It was a nice move, huh? Pinch running Eric Young, and he came in, got the bag, and they got the big run, and it was a nice game by the bullpen, of course, after Dylan G left. So all around nice hitting. 13 hits, I think the Mets had in the first game. 15 hits. So they're going to try to continue that here in the second game.
There's your Geico Mets starting lineup for Game 2. Eric Young, who came home with the go-ahead run in Game 1, gets the start in Game 2. Eric Campbell in right field against the left-hander. Ruben Tejada, another start at short. Anthony Recker behind the plate with Travis d'Arnaud missing the entire doubleheader with a mysterious ailment. as the Mets go up against Gio Gonzalez tonight. The weather has cleared. It was raining at the beginning of the first game today. A little mist early in the game. But while there's no rain, there is a chill in the air. It is quite autumnal, and this is what the Nats will have to get used to as they hope to play deep into October.
Exactly. Gio Gonzalez, a little bit like Dylan G in the first game. Dylan was 7-8 coming into the game. He got a no decision, but Gio 9-10 on the season. He's going to try to even his record.
I have to say it was a very disappointing finish to Dylan G's season.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it in between games, what Dylan takes from it. And he had gotten on such a roll from the end of May last season till he hurt himself. And then this last second half of the season, 3-7, his ERA over 5. He's going to have to look in the mirror when he goes home and figure out what went wrong. That's the Toyota numbers for Gio, 9-10, 3.74. He'll walk some, but he'll also strike out some, as you see, with 150 punch-outs. Defensively, the Coors Light defense behind Gio. It's little changes around. Hairston gets a start in left. Shearholtz gets a start in center. Jason Worth, who didn't play the first game, is at right field. Rendon, the Mets killer this year. Espinosa Cabrera. And Tyler Moore, the right-hander, gets a start at first base. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Essentially, Matt Williams rested half his regulars in the first game and the other half in the second game. And now Gonzalez, who figures to be the Nationals' fourth starter come postseason. That has not been announced yet, but it's really between he and Tanner Roark, and it makes sense that Gio will probably get that fourth spot.
Gio can be very puzzling at times because when you look at just pure stuff, he's as good as it gets. Throws 92 from the left side, unbelievable hammer and changeup. Control has always been his issue, of his emotions and of his pitches.
Mets have 4 games to go in the season. They need to win all 4 to get to 500 for the year. They've won 4 of their last 5. They are finishing this season very strong and trying to run it out to Sunday. They will play 3 with Houston starting tomorrow night. Eric Young to lead this one off. EY pinch ran in the 8th inning, scored the go-ahead run in the opening game of the doubleheader today. First pitch of the night from Gio Gonzalez is a fastball for a strike, and we are underway once again.
That was very interesting. Eric Young took that pitch by taking his left hand off the bat and dropping it to his side. I don't know what that was about.
Eric's been about equal left and right this year. 230 from the right side, 233 left-handed. Had a lot of playing time early in the year. It has dried up the second half of the season, and he's been primarily a pinch runner. But he picked up his 30th stolen base of the year in the first game today. And it's off the fists, a foul ball. Still 0-2.
I think the Mets are going to have their A game working because your last start before the postseason, most pitchers are really on top of their game. They don't want to go into the postseason off a bad effort.
Well, let's think about it this way for Gio Gonzalez. Today is Thursday. The Nationals have won the National League East. They will not play their first game in the National League Division Series until a week from tomorrow, Friday.
Yeah.
That's 8 days from now. By the time they get to Game 4, which is the game that Gio might start, it will be 13 days from now.
No.
How does he handle that between now and then?
Well, I think it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. I think the great thing about it,
as he strikes out Young for the first out of the night,
he will go into the game with on top form as far as his arm feeling. He's going to be 100% that way. I think what they usually do in these instances is that they will have simulated games during the week from Monday to Thursday to make those guys have some work.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Daniel Murphy. Murphy had a double in the game this afternoon. He snapped an 0 for 15 stretch with that RBI double in the 5th. And he loops one behind short, and it falls in for a base hit. So Murphy with a little dunkaroo into left, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner.
Dunkaroo, I liked it because that's exactly what it is. Up and in. Murph just fights it off. and just strong enough to get this over the head of Espinosa.
171 hits now for Murph, who began the day 9th in the National League in base hits. So here's Eric Campbell, who gets a start in right field against the left-hander. A little bit of an offbeat outfield combination for the Mets tonight, with Young, Granderson, and Campbell in the outfield. Campbell 0 for 2 in this series, and he fouls one back. Eric's last start was Saturday in Atlanta. He went 1 for 3. Had a pinch hitting assignment this afternoon and grounded into a double play with the bases loaded in the 9th. Murphy at first and 1 out. And Campbell foul tips one. 0-2. Gio has come out throwing strikes.
Well, he's got a live fastball tonight. It's his curveball is the difference maker. He said he's not had a great feel for it, but he struck out Eric Young on it, the first batter of the game. If he's got a good curveball, he's awfully tough.
And one thing that's also characterized Gonzalez's season, he's throwing his changeup more this year than he ever has before.
And again, I think that's because of the feel for his curveball has not been great. So that has become his secondary pitch.
Lucas Duda waits on deck. The final score just in from Toronto. The Mariners beat the Blue Jays 7-5. Logan Morrison hit 2 home runs.
Wow.
And it keeps Seattle alive in the American League wild card race. Now 2.5 behind Kansas City and Oakland. Campbell rolls one down to third. Might be 2. Rendon to second. Cabrera the turn. A 5-4-3 double play gets Gio Gonzalez through the top of the first. Zach Wheeler heads to the mound. No score in D.C. Cap. Anthony Rendon sat in game 1. He's at third base. Nate Sherholt's first start in center field since 2012. As the Nats get a look at what Sherholtz can do coming down the stretch. Scott Hairston, the former Met, a rare start in left field.
Well, Zach Wheeler's last start, you see his Caesars numbers. Chance to get his 12th win. That's a nice number to get to. Base on balls is something he's going to have to work on. Innings per start too. Be a guy that once he gets those pitches down, he'll be a 6 2/3 kind of guy on average. Boy, I really like this double play in the first inning by the Nationals. Change up to Campbell. Watch how Rendon put some mustard on that ball to Cabrera. And remember, Cabrera has really solidified their infield defense. An important thing in the post.
Anthony Rendon will lead off against Wheeler. Rendon leading the National League with 110 runs scored, 5th in the league in hits, 4th in doubles. He has had a terrific year in his first full big league season. And he takes low and away from Wheeler for ball 1. Rendon, Cabrera, and Worth for the Nationals. And that's at 92 and 65, which leaves them 2 games ahead of the Dodgers for the best record in the National League. So they've got some work to do yet to clinch that home field throughout the postseason. 2-0 to Rendon, or at least through the National League Championship Series. They can't do anything about home field in the World Series. It wasn't in their hands.
Well, I have no idea who won the All-Star game, so I don't care.
Somebody did.
Okay.
Wheeler gets his first strike, 2-1. Zach coming off a fine outing in Atlanta. Back home, he threw too many pitches as usual. 105 pitches to get through 6, but did not allow a run. Worked around 5 hits and a couple of walks and a 5-0 win. I was thinking about this, Ronnie. If you had to handicap right now, who's going to be the Mets opening day starter for next year? Who would be at the top of the list?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think right now, if you had to ask me right now, Wheeler's your opening day starter.
I think that's true too.
Because I think they're going to be extra careful with Harvey during spring training. They might even, in the beginning, hold Harvey to 100 pitches or less. You know, the weather conditions always are an issue.
Rendon goes down swinging for the first out.
The Mets open up here, right?
I believe that's right.
Texas defense behind Zach. For the Mets in the outfield, EY, Grandy, and Soup. Murph, Blades, Fred, and Lebowski at first base. And what do I got? I don't have a nickname for Record.
Ralph. Record Ralph.
Oh, Boch. I'll call him Boch. Because like Sunday Bruce Bochy, he plays once a week.
As Drupal Cabrera, the number 2 hitter, that came out of nowhere.
I'm sorry. I don't know what.
Outstanding work there.
Did you see the one I picked for Tejada Blades? Ruben Blades, yeah.
I was there with you.
Okay, thank you. Good. And then Fred, of course, for
Fred and Wilma. Right. Lebowski, we know.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Something different, folks. I mean, we've been doing it all year. I know you're sick of it.
Granderson in shallow center, and back goes Tejada, and he drops the ball. Well, looked like it was going to be Granderson's ball coming in. Ruben tried to get it going back, but too much blade and not enough glove.
What you have to do, the shortstop there, you've either got to get turned around so you are kind of backpedaling to make that catch and turn your body around. He tried to catch it over his head, but with his glove kind of tilted back over his head. He was just in a bad position.
So Cabrera is aboard. They'll charge an error to Tejada. And now Jason Worth, who sat in the first game. Worth went 0 for 3 on Tuesday night in the first game of the series. Starts the day at .388 on base percentage, the 3rd best in the National League. And takes a pitch for a strike.
Asked our truck to check. I feel like every time Wheeler pitches, there's an error on the field, or a couple.
Well, he's given up 11 unearned runs this year, which is a pretty nice, hefty total. Now, I don't know if you can hear it at home, but there's a lot of wind blowing through the microphones. Wind is blowing in tonight.
It's always a little cooler here on Mount Olympus when we do these games. So
you're saying down in the field it might be less windy than it is up here, 7 stories high. You know, they made changes to this ballpark after the first couple of years. 2010, this ballpark?
Yes, I believe so.
When the ballpark first opened, our broadcast booth was on the 7th floor. Now it's on the 5th floor.
Yeah, how did that happen, by the way?
Well, they didn't change the location of the broadcast booth. They just changed the numbering so it wouldn't seem so high.
Oh, that's funny. That's us.
That's us. It's a nice place to be. Very spacious accommodations.
That's Chuck on our left. Tracy, our stage manager, for some reason is hiding behind the banners.
See,
must feel like it's a good hair day or something. I don't know.
You know, she's only putting in a half a day today. She was missing this afternoon. She claimed to have another assignment.
Well, she's got a vested interest in this game finishing quickly. She got a little Black Keys action tonight.
Oh, great. Good luck. Cabrera at first with 1 out. Figure he'll be running here on 3-2. There he goes. Worth strikes out. Recker can't find it, and Cabrera has a stolen base. So Worth strikes out for the 2nd out, and Cabrera picks up his 10th stolen base of the year.
2 breaking balls for strikeouts now to Rendon to start the game, and now to Worth. Cabrera easily steals the base on the 3-2 count. And tough pitch there for Worth to handle, which he doesn't. Recker tried to backhand that play. Luckily, it didn't go by him.
So 2 out, a runner in scoring position. And now Wilson Ramos. Ramos didn't play this afternoon. Went 0 for 4 on Tuesday night. It's got to be the first 0 for he's ever had against the Mets. Ramos just a huge thorn in the Mets side ever since he came to Washington in the deal for Matt Capps from Minnesota. Taken off the plate for ball 1. What a trade that's turned out to be for Washington. If only they could keep Ramos on the field for a full season.
Yeah. I'll never forget that trade because that year Ramos had come up and Mauer wasn't feeling well, and he went 4 for 4 in a game and looked like he was going to be stuck behind Mauer forever. And now Mauer's playing first base, and they could use a guy like Ramos, although Suzuki's had a nice year for them. It's one of those trades a team makes late in the year. Minnesota was going to play in the postseason. They needed a closer, needed some more bullpen help, and they got Capps.
You trade now for later, and you know the quintessential now for later deal was the Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz trade.
That's right.
Alexander went 9-0 down the stretch for the Tigers, and Smoltz went to the Hall of Fame, or is going to the Hall of Fame one of these days. Inside 2-1. Larry Anderson for Jeff Bagwell.
That's right. Was Zambrano for Kazmir a move like that or no?
Well, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
How about Beltran for Wheeler? That one could turn out that way.
That's right.
A rental traded for a guy who could contribute for years. 2-1 pitch. Bounce toward third. Murphy backing off to play it. And he throws out Ramos to end the inning. So an error. Wheeler able to work around it and keep it a scoreless game after 1. Young lady makes a nice little sign. Jason Worth, throw me a ball. And
wish you really had to count on Dad being able to catch. Luckily, he came down with that.
Thank you. Did we get a thank you?
Dad said thank you. All right.
Dad caught the ball. Dad said thank you. But she did make the sign. Might have had some help with that.
Next sign will be, Jason, please sign the ball.
Lucas Duda leads off in the second inning, a scoreless game. Lucas 2 for 9 in this series. Couple of base hits this afternoon. And he takes a strike from Gio Gonzalez. Duda, Flores, and Granderson for the Mets in the second. Gio facing the Mets for the 5th time this year. He beat the Mets in his first start at Citi Field back on April 2nd. Since then, though, the Mets have toasted him pretty thoroughly. Last 3 starts against the Mets, he's 0-3, 6.89. There's a curveball for a strike, but as Ronnie noted, Gio has really kicked it in gear coming down the stretch. Beat the Marlins his last time out. 2.79 ERA over his last 6 starts. Rounding into form at the right time. And he gets Duda on strikes. Second strikeout for Gonzalez, 1 away.
Well, fastball down, curveball away, fastball down and in. Pretty nice combination for Gio Gonzalez.
So 1 out and nobody on. By the way, when Gio won his last start in Miami, and you know he's from
there,
down there, first time he'd ever won a game in Miami. So that was pretty special.
Wow, he's from Hialeah, I believe.
Right.
His father grew up in Jersey, lived in Jersey for a long time during the 80s, and was a big Mets fan.
Of course. There's the good changeup from Gio. 0-2 to Flores.
Way out in front was Flores.
Flores 5 for 8 in this series. And Wilmer bounces 1 foul. It has certainly been a revelation to watch Wilmer swing the bat over the last 3 weeks to a month. Curtis Granderson on deck. He's also been swinging the bat very well recently. One, 2. And that's hit foul. 94 from Gio. It was 2 years ago that Gio had his career year. 21-8. 2.89 ERA. Last year a little bit different. Just 11-8. 3.36. And again this year the wins are down and the ERA is up. Flores strikes out on the curveball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gonzalez to start the second. And this is the sharpest we've seen him all year.
Yeah, it's the best curveball I've seen him have in 2 years. Just really snapping it off. This is a curveball that, boy, you used to see from Jonathan Neese when he first came up. It's one of those big curveballs that's hard to get called, but it's hard to lay off it also.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Granderson. Curtis 4 for 8 in this series. And he pops 1 foul. Well, the Nats have had the best pitching in the league all year. And, you know, in many ways, Gio Gonzalez has been the weak link in that rotation. Strasburg has had an outstanding year. Zimmerman, his usual fine year. Tanner Roark's been a nice surprise in the 5th spot. Doug Fister has come over and had a wonderful effect on their staff. They needed to get Gio going, and apparently he's going. Fastball for a strike, 1-2.
That was a scratch your head trade this winter, huh? When Fister came over, you just felt like he was maybe the missing part that they needed to get back to the playoffs.
Well, the Tigers have survived without him. And now that they have 3 Cy Young Award winners on their staff, I guess Fister's kind of a distant memory there.
Their starting staff is fine. Their hitting is superb. Catching the ball and their bullpen have been their Achilles heels this year.
Well, the bullpen seems to be a never-ending problem there. But, you know, when you're trying to shoehorn guys like Cabrera and Victor Martinez into your lineup, somebody's got to play the field.
And they're kind of what is better this year for their offense. I was watching the game. Rajah Davis stole his 35th base. They had 35 steals as a team last year.
But they traded Austin Jackson at the trading deadline, and Rajah Davis is not as good a center fielder, so that hurts their defense. Granderson takes strike 3 call. Gio Gonzalez strikes out the side in the second inning. Gio looking extremely sharp. Wheeler's going to have to be on top of his game tonight if he wants to get a win. No score in the second in D.C. With MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Get at bat for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit MLB.com. Gio Gonzalez looking very sharp through his first 2 innings. Nate Scherholtz will lead off against Zach Wheeler in the home second. Scherholtz playing center field. It's only the 6th time in his career he started in center field, and the first since 2012 when he was with the Phillies.
Always mostly traditionally a right fielder whenever he plays.
Very strong arm. A ball and a strike to Scherholtz, who came over in a deadline deal from the Cubs. Cubs didn't have any more room with all their prospects bubbling into the big leagues, and Scherholtz was having a rough year. He's had a rough time of it with the Nats too, but he had a big pinch hit single in the first game of the doubleheader today. 2 balls and a strike to Scherholtz. Tyler Moore on deck, and then Scott Hairston against Wheeler, who worked around an error by Tejada in the first inning. Dylan G's season came to an end today, and Dylan said after the game that the entire year has kind of left a sour taste in his mouth, and you can understand why. 2-2 to Scherholtz. I mean, he got off to a really nice start the first 6 weeks of the season, but once he suffered that lat injury that opened the door for Jacob deGrom, G was never able to get it back in gear.
It's almost like he forgot what made him so successful before the injury.
By the way, speaking of Mets starting pitchers, do you think this will be a big story?
You told me in between break this is going to be a huge story.
As you know, Derek Jeter's playing his final home game for the Yankees tonight against the Orioles. You know who's at the game?
I'm going to take my headphone off. I don't want to hear it, okay? Go ahead. Say it.
Number 33, Matt Harvey. Oops. Sherholtz lifts one out to right center. And Campbell grabs it for the first out. Certainly it's been an exciting year for Matt, for a guy who didn't play at all.
He had a full season. He really did. You know, I remember during the season recently, Troy Tulowitzki, who wears number 2 in honor of Derek Jeter, was out, and he's going to have an operation this winter. And he was at Yankee Stadium because he was seeing a doctor in New York, and that became a story also for Colorado to deal with.
Was his team playing at the time?
The team wasn't playing at the time, but I think the issue is that as you see Jeter leaving, there was talk at that time that, you know, Tulowitzki might be a fit in New York for the Yankees. So that's why it caused a stir. This one will cause equally a big stir.
Curveball in for a strike. 1-1 to Tyler Moore.
Just snapdragon is what we used to call a curveball like that. Just drops out of the air.
96 from Wheeler.
He's got a good breaking ball. His fastball is live. He threw a changeup to Sherholtz 2-1.
Well, it's his last start of the year.
He wants to end with a bang.
He wants to go out. I mean, he came in with 180 innings under his belt, which is a nice thing, and has not missed a start all year. That's an even better thing, as that curveball is down 2-2, and so he'll be poised next year if he finishes 186, 187, whatever it is, to go to 215 innings next year.
As his pitch count goes down, Gary, he really is going to be a guy that's going to be go into the 7th or through 7 many times next year if he stays healthy.
2-2 to Moore, grounded to the third, and Murphy handles it. 2 out. Well, let me ask you this, because we talk about this all the time. He's got to get his pitch count down. He's got to get his pitch count down. How does that happen?
Well, Davey Johnson once explained it to me in a way of standard deviation. And what he meant was, I had a lot of movement on my pitches. Certainly not the talent that Zach Wheeler has, but I had a lot of movement on my pitches. So he said, what you have to do is you have to take more of the plate in your aim. You can't aim on the corners. Well, if it starts on the corners, it's going to run off. So you need to aim like 2/3 of the plate over, and by the time it gets to the plate, it will be on the corner. That's one way to do it. The other way is, you know, he's a strikeout pitcher. I think that when push comes to shove, when he's at the top of his game, whether it's next year or the year after, he's going to be less of a strikeout pitcher, but a better pitcher. Because I think what's going to happen is that he is going to start to get some outs, especially on players that are maybe the lesser caliber, on the first 2-3 pitches of the at bat, because the stuff is so good he can just throw it down, not even on the corners, and they'll ground out.
Now, this at bat is a perfect example. The first pitch he threw to Scott Hairston was a fastball away that wasn't close.
Yeah.
Now, is that a concentration issue? What is that?
It's a concentration issue. It's also a mechanics issue, because he does have a lot of moving parts, less than when he first came up. So Dan Warther and he have worked very hard to try to get in the same position each and every time.
Now, one thing that's helped him, the hands over the head, was something he added after the season began. It seemed to regulate him a little.
Yeah, it kind of slowed him down. It kind of gave him a little rhythm, like when you're trying to teach someone how to dance. You know, there's certain things that you can do. It became more of a kind of flowing mechanics for Zach Wheeler.
2-2 to the former Met, Scott Hairston, who's hitting just .205. And up and in comes the fastball, making Scott vacate. 3-2.
When you're pitching, it's almost like, see this pitch up and in, it's almost like it's a count, Gary. If you're sitting at home watching Wheeler, when he starts this motion, it's almost 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, pop. The more he stays on that kind of rhythm, the better his pitches are.
Half swing. Hairston went around. Strike 3. Third strikeout for Wheeler. And he gets the side in order in the second. On to the third we go. Mets and Nats, no score. for the Mets' last
Nice.
road game of the year. Anthony Recker leads off in the third in a scoreless game and takes a curveball for ball one from Gio Gonzalez.
Lots of Mets fans.
A lot of Met fans living right here in the D.C. area. I came across quite a few in my travels over the last 3 or 4 days. Recker's last start was Sunday in Atlanta. He went 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs.
Sometimes during the summer there'll be lots of Mets fans around where we are because of it's a good trip to come down with your kids. You know, there's a lot of stuff to do during the day.
But this time of year, you also have a lot of college students who go to school in this area. Got folks working for the government.
Exactly. Not only students, professors, you know, that are Mets fans.
Two coming to Recker. And Anthony strikes out on the fastball. That's 5 strikeouts for Gonzalez, including 4 in a row. Sunday after the Jets-Lions game, tune to SNY for behind-the-scenes access and player reactions, plus an exclusive look at Rex Ryan's locker room speech and postgame comments on Jets Postgame Live, presented by Toyota. Sunday immediately after the Jets-Lions game, only on SNY.
You said that's a must-see TV,
How
right?
come they don't promote the scowl on Ray Lucas's face? That's the best part of the whole show.
It is?
Oh.
I haven't seen that show. And this year I'm definitely not going to see it.
Well, the last 2 games were the perfect time to watch. Anytime the Jets lose in excruciating fashion, that show is just off the charts.
So you had the timeout game. That was 2 times ago. What was excruciating about the last one?
Everything.
Oh.
Well, let's see. Was it the pick 6 on the second play from scrimmage, or the interception in the end zone, or the fumble that was run back for a touchdown that the officials blew? I can go on and on if you'd like.
Okay.
1 and 2 to Tejada. I mean, we're only 3 weeks into a 16-game schedule, and there's been enough agita for 3 seasons for Jets fans. One and 2 to Tejada with 1 out. Ruben 3 for 7 in this series. The Mets are kind of undecided about what their middle infield situation is going to look like next year, but they're hoping that in a few years down the road, kid that they used a first-round draft pick on, Gavin Cecchini, might be ready to take over at shortstop. Well, Gavin's brother Garen was called up by the Red Sox as a September call-up and hit his first big league home run last night.
Really? I knew he was with the Sox. He played in Pawtucket this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have some friends of mine that are big Red Sox fans that feel compelled to email me every once in a while how the Pawtucket team is doing.
Have you seen the Red Sox lineup lately?
It's the Pawtucket team.
They started 7 rookies last night.
They even have their own Mookie and Mookie Betts, who plays.
5 strikeouts in a row for Gio Gonzalez. Halfway to Seaver.
3 of them via the fastball, 1 by curveball, and then this one on the change. Nice pitch from Gio.
Well, he got such a bad swing from Ruben on the first changeup, he figured, why not try another one?
I found out that Mookie Betts, who plays for the Red Sox, had a great season in the minor leagues this year, is named after Mookie Blaylock, not after Mookie Wilson.
Zach Wheeler 4 for 49 at the plate this year, and he punches that one foul.
This isn't even fair if Gio decides to throw a curveball to Wheeler here.
Now the 1-2. Struck him out. Gio Gonzalez with 6 consecutive strikeouts. 7 first time through the batting order. Don't need Spy to figure that out. No score in the third. That's baseball on SNY is powered by Verizon on America's largest and most reliable 4G LTE network. Our broadcast team has stayed connected to the Mets all season long with the latest devices from Verizon. From scores around the league to the latest news from the clubhouse, and now with Verizon XLTE, Mets fans are closer to the team they love. Well, Zach Wheeler trying hard to keep pace with Gio Gonzalez. Gio has struck out 7 over the first 3 innings, including the last 6 Met hitters. Danny Espinosa leads off in the third against Wheeler, who has struck out 3 in the first 2 innings. Espinosa 2 for 4 in the opening game of the doubleheader. Playing shortstop in this one, giving Ian Desmond a game off, and he fouls one back in the screen. It'll be Espinosa, Gio Gonzalez, and Anthony Rendon for the Nationals in the third. Well, an old friend of yours, Ronnie, just got himself a new job today.
Yes.
The Arizona Diamondbacks announced their choice for general manager and senior vice president, Dave Stewart. The greatest pitchers of his generation.
Yeah, he was just so intense on the field. The most fun-loving guy off the field. A baseball guy who gets a baseball job. Pretty cool. You know, his relationship with Tony La Russa, a very special one. And he brings a lot of expertise because he's been an agent. So he brings that part to contract negotiations and such, and also knows talent.
Espinosa down swinging. Nasty slider from Wheeler for his 4th strikeout.
Both pitchers just got everything going. Big curveball by Gio and this tight little slider from Zach Wheeler. Fun to watch if you enjoy good pitching. Stu used to come to the games at home at around 6:30. He would go to his locker.
Wait a second. For a 7 o'clock game?
For a 7:05 game. He'd come to the locker room in Oakland at around 6:30. I'm only telling it because the pitcher's up. He would throw on his uniform, walk out to the mound to warm up, and then go to the game. No stretching, no
long toss.
No long toss, nothing. Just put his uniform on, put his hat on. You know how he used to put his hat on, really pull it down. He'd go out, warm up, and he would get in that zone as quick as anyone I've ever seen.
What if there was traffic?
Well, he's an Oakland kid, so at least he knew the back roads. So
to get around.
Neither of these pitchers want to face the other guy tonight. Just it's an overmatch.
Wheeler, a right-hand pitcher who bats left-handed. Gio, a left-hand pitcher who bats right-handed. Anthony Rendon on deck. Two. Struck him out. So that's 3 in a row for Wheeler. So Gio has struck out 7 first time through the order. Wheeler has struck out 5.
There are some nights when Gio can handle a bat fine. He's got a home run this year. Wheeler certainly can handle the bat fine. But occasionally you get in the game and you look at the other pitcher, you don't really have a chance tonight. That's how good they are.
Now, if you're Zach Wheeler, do you get caught up in the fact that Gonzalez is striking out all these hitters, and do you start thinking strikeout? I
don't think you think strikeout, but you think one thing. I'm going to have to be good tonight because this is going to be a low-scoring affair.
Anthony Rendon struck out his first time up. Well, different circumstances, right? Gio's a veteran pitcher who's going to the postseason. Wheeler's a young pitcher just completing his first full year in the big leagues. But whoever you are, that last start of the year is something special.
It really is. You wanna when you put your glove down and you put your spikes away for the year, you want to feel real good about that last game you pitched in.
That's drilled into left, and the Nats have their first hit off Wheeler. A 2-out single for Rendon. By the way, so we look at the replay on Rendon's hit.
Quick hands, just quickest in baseball.
Speaking of pitchers making their last start of the year, you know who's pitching the last day of the season here in Washington? Who? For the Miami Marlins? Henderson Alvarez, who last year on the final day of the season pitched the no-hitter in Detroit. See if history can repeat itself. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, and he takes inside from Wheeler. Of course, that was the no-hitter one on the wild pitch.
Well, it was 0-0, right, in the game?
Bottom of the 9th. And I don't think he was going to go out there for the 10th. I think his only shot to get the no-hitter was for the Marlins to score at the bottom of the 9th, which they did.
How about check out this weekend of pitching I saw. 1991. I'm in a Montreal Expos uniform on the Friday night in Dodger Stadium. I just forgot his name. Mark
Gardner.
Mark Gardner throws 9 innings of no-hit ball. He loses the no-hitter in the game in the 10th. Saturday's game. Then Sunday, El Presidente throws a perfect game. Dennis Martinez.
Who pitched Saturday?
Probably me, and I lost by 20 runs. So what I did in the Expo uniform.
So wait a second. You spent 3 weeks as an Expo and you got to see a perfect game?
Perfect game.
That's amazing.
And you know what? I didn't really know what to do because, all the players have been there all year. They were so excited and jumping up and down. And, I didn't know anyone. So I just kind of hugged Dennis because I knew him. And that was about it. It's like it was a party, but I don't think I was really invited to it. But he was great that day.
Dennis went 245 games.
Yeah.
Just a little wisp of a guy.
He was tough, and he used to have a great memory, and he'd be flying through a game. He had great control. and all of a sudden he would air someone out, hit him, and you're like, where did that come from? And you'd find out there was always a story. And sometimes it was years before.
There goes Rendon, and Cabrera fouls it back. Well, what I remember about Dennis Martinez, and this happened on a number of occasions when he was pitching against the Mets, that he'd give up 2, 3, even 4 runs in the first inning and then shut you out the rest of the way.
He was like that a lot. He was his best. I think you read it the other day. 87, he went 4-0 against the Mets. But he just was a great competitor and could throw any pitch at any time.
Wheeler ahead on Cabrera, 1-2. And he comes to his feet with a slider, 2-2. If you missed it this afternoon, Milwaukee lost, which clinched a postseason berth for the Giants, but they still have to sort out whether the Pirates or the Giants are going to have the top wild card spot, and if Pittsburgh can catch St. Louis for the Central title. Flores handles the grounder and throws out Cabrera, side retired. So Wheeler with a couple more strikeouts. He's fanned 5 in the first 3 innings, and we've got a pitcher's duel going in D.C. He is tonight.
Started off the game with a big hook that got Eric Young. That little sinker down and in. Another curveball to Flores. And then fastball to Granderson. A fastball upstairs. Changeup to Tejada. And no chance for Wheeler with another breaking ball. I mean, just flew through the lineup for the Mets.
Well, he's faced the minimum over the first 3 innings. Daniel Murphy hit a soft single to left. He was erased on a double play, and everything else has been a strikeout. Now back to the top of the order for Eric Young, who bluffs the bunt and takes ball 1.
If he's going to bunt, Rendon's a good player at third base. He wants to bunt towards Tyler Moore, less experience at first base, and Gio falls off towards the third base side.
And again, 2-0.
Eric didn't think that was a strike. That's why he took it. I think he might have caught the inside corner. Let's see. He takes it because he doesn't think it's a strike. It was a good pitch, but it looked bad because Ramos kind of botched it back there.
David Rackley, the very young home plate umpire, called it a strike. So it's 1-1. Murphy on deck. And EY flies one out to left center. And Hairston is there to grab it. 1 out. So now Daniel Murphy, who blooped a single to left his first time up. If things stand the way they are, and the Nationals have the best record in the National League going into the postseason, then they would play the wild card winner, meaning what looks now as though it would probably be Pirates or Giants.
Yeah, well, yeah, right now it's the Giants against the Pirates.
Right. I mean, the Pirates still have a chance to catch the Cardinals for the Central Division title. The Pirates are up 2-0 in Atlanta in the third tonight. And the Cardinals are off, so the Pirates can pull within a game if they win. Weak cut by Murphy, and Gio Gonzalez has his 8th strikeout, just 1 shy of his season high. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, get a breakdown of tonight's Giants-Redskins game with all the latest player reactions, insider info, and debate on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, tomorrow at 5, only on SNY. So Gonzalez has retired 9 in a row. Now Eric Campbell.
Let me present a what if to you, Gary. So what if you are tied, the Giants and Dodgers are tied, let's say, on the last day of the season.
Giants and Pirates, I mean.
Sorry, Giants.
Yeah, Dodgers have clinched.
They've clinched, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I should make it like this. You have 2 teams that are going for their division. They're both tied.
Right.
But you have an unbelievable pitcher. Best in baseball. Do you pitch him on that Sunday to win the division, or do you save him because even if you don't win the game on Sunday, then you have him for the 1-game wild card game?
But if you win Sunday, you don't have to play the wild card game.
If you win Sunday.
Right. It's a tough call.
It's a tough call, right?
But you would think if you feel that strongly about that pitcher,
yeah, you'd pitch him on Sunday to win the division.
Pitch him on Sunday to avoid Monday.
Yeah. I mean, the whole key for a lot of these ball clubs, they're, other than maybe Detroit, who has the 3 Cy Youngs, is they're too deep. I mean, like 2 people deep as far as their starting pitchers.
That one caught Ramos, and he's shaken.
Fouled straight down by Campbell.
Oh,
yeah.
Yikes.
Well, these poor catchers, man. I don't know how they do it.
I mean, you wear a cup, doesn't matter. It's better than not wearing a cup, but it still doesn't matter.
That's one of those things that, even if we could explain it to you folks, no need to talk about it. A lot of times when something like that happens, you literally can get sick to your stomach and want to throw up. I mean, that's how bad it gets. And it seems like that's where Ramos is right now.
There's nothing you can do about it. Just wait for it to get better.
And it was interesting that the Matt Williams and the trainer did not come out for a long time, because they know Ramos is tough as they get.
And they also know that they can't do anything to help.
Yeah,
except stand there and say comforting words.
I mean, sometimes, usually, after you start to feel a little better, someone will make like what they think is a funny joke, but it never is funny.
It's not funny.
No,
then maybe a little later it might be funny. It's the I think that's where the expression "too soon" came from.
Yes. You see the stretching of the arm by Jose Lobaton, just in case. He's their backup catcher.
Lobaton caught the first game of the doubleheader today. They also have a third catcher, Sandy Leon. It's going to be a little while before Wilson Ramos feels like himself.
Now, see, there's the joke.
He's telling the joke.
I told you, there's always the joke.
But if it's the guy who gets hit who tells the joke, that means it's not too soon. So he'll hang in there.
Campbell saying something to him.
3-2 to Campbell with 2 out. See if this does anything to break Gio Gonzalez's rhythm. Nothing has yet. And Campbell hits one deep to left field. Back goes Hairston to the warning track. Back at the wall. And he made the catch. Scott Hairston turning and stumbling and got himself into just the right spot and makes a nice catch to take an extra base hit away from Campbell. Well, Scott's not known for his defense, and it took him a while to find it, but he was there, and Gio appreciative. It almost broke his rhythm. Mets history to be hit by a pitch 40 or more times. Well, how about that?
After what happened to Ramos, what are we, masochists tonight?
I mean, really. Timing's all off.
Did you hear the music that they play for Jason Worth?
Werewolves of London.
Warren Zevon.
Perfect. When you have hair like Jason, where else would you go?
Pina Colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was
perfect. Toward the middle, Flores can't smother it, and Worth has himself an infield hit. So there's the second hit off Zach Wheeler.
It's almost like Flores overdove. See his glove kind of get caught underneath him and bent over. Could have hurt his wrist, but it just goes like almost under his chest.
Are they chanting Wilson?
Yes, they are.
For Wilson Ramos?
Just like Castaway.
Well, that was more plaintive. Wilson! Ramos grounded out to third his first time up. Toward the hole, and he's got himself a hit. Worth pulls in at second, and the Nats have something working here in the fourth. First and second, nobody out. Just a couple of ground balls that wind up being hits against Zach Wheeler.
Just well placed here by Ramos. Looks like he was trying to shoot it through that hole. Duda, of course, holding him on. And nice hitting by Ramos.
First hit of the series for Wilson Ramos. Now it's Sherholtz, who flied out to right his first time up. Worth at second, Ramos at first, and nobody out.
Don't be completely surprised in a game like this that he might lay one down.
And Murphy playing in on the grass, thinking that way, but Sherholtz ready to swing as he takes the curveball low.
Nate Sherholtz, the pride of San Ramon Valley High School in Danville, Massachusetts. I only know that because my youngest son went to San Ramon Valley High.
Tyler Moore on deck. Wheeler painting himself into a little bit of a corner here. Behind Sherholtz 2-0.
You have to always remind yourself when you're pitching, you know, because you've given up hits, you should not change what you're doing. Why? Both hits were not lucky. I shouldn't say lucky, but they were both ground balls. They could have been right at someone. You know, Flores could have made an awesome play on one. So you try to stay where you're at.
And now 3-1 to Sherholtz.
Sometimes you have to remind yourself also when you're out there that, you know, this guy's batting 193. There's a reason, you know. He's been making a lot of outs.
Well, he's got to challenge him here.
Yes.
Sherholtz pops it up and foul ground. Murphy toward the stands, but that'll be beyond his reach. Wheeler hasn't walked about it tonight. He's struck out 5. Worth at second, Ramos at first, and nobody out. Not running, and Sherholtz draws a walk, and now the bases are loaded. First walk for Wheeler, and a tight mess with Tyler Moore coming up. Moore has become something of a forgotten man for the Nats. 2 years ago, it looked like he was an emerging, important piece. Had a very good year off the bench, 10 home runs. Slumped last year, has struggled this year. Bases loaded, nobody out. And a first pitch curveball that misses, ball 1.
Yeah, he was a big part of Davey Johnson's bench, wasn't he, 2 years ago? He had 10 home runs, I think, on a limited basis.
One of the many things that went right for that team in 2012 when they won 98 games. Foul back. 1-1. Scott Hairston, who made that fine play on Eric Campbell to end the top of the inning, waiting on deck. Worth at third, Ramos at second, Sherholtz at first, and nobody out. In tight to Moore, 2-1.
Shaking of the head from Dan Worthen. This is part of the frustration that comes with young pitchers, that there's some innings that you can't believe that they're struggling this much.
It's hit slowly. Flores gets the force as a run comes home. So Worth comes in to score, give an RBI to Tyler Moore, and the Nats have a 1-0 lead. Now Scott Hairston with first and third and one out. Hairston struck out his first time up.
We've watched Hairston enough, Gary. What's the most important thing that you have to think about when you face Scott Hairston? First pitch, fastball hitter, loves the ball middle of the plate in. Always has his entire career.
Hit 20 home runs for the Mets 2 years ago. He's only hit one home run this year. You know, in 74 at bats. It's only the 12th game he started this year. That's used him as a weapon against left-handed pitching, but he played a lot. Nats picked him up from the Cubs last year in July.
Well, the more loaded your lineup is, the less important these guys on the bench are, because there's nowhere to play them. And Espinosa doesn't play a lot.
And that becomes a double-edged sword, because if you don't play your reserves every once in a while, it's hard to keep them sharp for pinch hitting duty. Meanwhile, Wheeler finds himself behind another hitter. 2-0 to Hairston. And he threw outside, and now it's 3-0.
You know, these innings that really are tough for Zach. You'll watch Anthony Rucker behind the plate. He'll sit in. He's got to reach outside. He'll sit outside. He's got to reach back in. There's never really a purpose to where Wheeler's throwing the ball. Not really pitching, just throwing.
And he throws that one to the backstop. Here comes Ramos. He scores. And it's 2-0 Washington. It was ball 4 to Hairston, but so wild that Ramos was able to come in with the second run of the inning.
Well, not even close for a catcher. You're thinking that on this pitch you're going to get a strike. Not close. Nice hustle by Recker to get to it, and he had a good throw to the plate for Ramos, who didn't slide. But you saw Wheeler's heart wasn't really in it to get in there and catch that ball and apply the tag.
So a couple of soft hits, a walk, a fielder's choice, another walk, and I don't know if that's going to be a wild pitch or a pass ball, but in any event, all of a sudden Wheeler, who hasn't had a hard hit ball against him in the inning, has 2 runs against his name.
Well, how many times you see that? The Mets catcher Recker is repairing his equipment and not even making it out to the mound to talk to Zach Wheeler. Maybe he might have snapped one of the things that hook behind your legs when he slid to get that ball.
So he has to reconstruct his grommet. So Wheeler left with his own thoughts as Rucker tries to get his equipment back in order. They'll have the number 8 hitter Danny Espinosa coming up. 2 hits, 2 walks, and a wild pitch in the inning. And the Nats have a 2-0 lead. Espinosa struck out his first time up. Wonder where they got that from. Moore at second, Hairston at first with 1 out. We're going to be at the Meadowlands Sunday for Jets Lions.
I don't see any firemen here.
No more firemen. That's
no more Eddie? No?
Bye-bye, Eddie. Wheeler really taking his time now as this inning conspires against him. And he crowds Espinosa and misses a ball and a strike.
That's the problem when you're all over the place. When you throw a pitch that you think's good and that hit the glove, sometimes don't get a strike called from the umpires because they're now used to you being all over the place.
Espinosa smacks one foul. 1-2. Espinosa had 2 hits in the opening game today, but for the most part batting left-handed has been a real struggle for him, to the point where there's even been conversation about Espinosa giving up switch hitting. He's hit over 300 as a right-hand batter this year, well under 200 as a left-hand batter. Moore at second, Harrison at first with 1 out. And that slider at the feet of Espinosa, 2-2.
You know, that's another thing you asked me, Gary, about the pitch counts. The thing about a Wheeler is that if you're going to get hitters to swing at your breaking pitches, they have to appear to be more of a strike before they bend out of the zone. His breaking pitches at times, when he runs into innings like this, are bad from the start. They're balls out of his hand, and hitters can recognize that.
Espinosa fouls back the slider. You see the pitch count building. 22 in this inning, 74 through 3 1/3. And so it goes for Zach Wheeler. Two. Espinosa fouls off the curve.
I was thinking back to, we've brought it up many times that, I led the league in walks my second year in '85. I always kiddingly say, since Dwight won the Cy Young, he led every other category. Really was the only one left. But I wonder, because they didn't keep the stats. I mean, my pitch counts in those days must have been just absurd. But they allowed you to pitch deeper, so it wasn't as much of a concern. 135 pitches was not something they would let you do that occasionally.
So you had an idea how many pitches you threw?
Well, with here's the leaders in walks. A.J. Burnett, boy, almost at 100. Davey and Mel did keep a pitch count. Mel with the clicker. I'd always try to talk Mel into occasionally putting that clicker down for an inning, but they did have an idea. It's just that
But did you have an idea? Would they say to you how many pitches you threw?
No. But as a pitcher that it's one of those days that this is 125 plus kind of game. My only issue is I wasn't a pitcher like Zach, who's a strikeout pitcher. as the game got on, sometimes my sinker would get better, so sometimes I didn't figure it out till about pitch 99.
Full count to Espinosa. Wheeler's already walked 2 in the inning. Seems to trust his fastball as much as he should tonight.
He has a good one too, and I think that he gets into the habit that every 2-1 count he wants to go with something soft, and that is an art of pitching, but he's not there yet, and he doesn't need it because of the liveliness of his fastball. He should use it more.
Moore at second, Hairston at first. 9th pitch of the at bat coming to Espinosa. He fouls off another curveball.
I mean, with Zach, it's a really keep it as simple as you can. Get into a game and establish your fastball. And I mean to both sides of the plate and down. And once he does that, then he can include all the other pitches he wants. But he's got to have that in his back pocket, that at any time he can throw a pitch on the knees outside to Espinosa for a strike. At any time.
Again, the 3-2. Hit toward the middle, and that's a base hit for Espinosa. Moore had to hold up to make sure it got through. He'll stop at third, and the Nats have reloaded the bases. 3rd hit in the inning for Espinosa, and like the first 2, it wasn't hit particularly hard.
But he saw a lot of pitches, and he was able to fight it off. There's nothing that the runner, Tyler Moore, could do because he was jammed so hard. He didn't realize, or he didn't understand, it might come down into the gloves of one of the middle infielders. So he really had to hold up there and only go base to base.
Gonzalez Herman has begun to throw in the Mets bullpen. As Wheeler runs into a wall here in the 4th inning. Now Gio Gonzalez bats with the bases loaded and 1 out. Gio struck out his first time up. What do you tell a pitcher in the spot? If you think you're going to hit into a double play, strike out.
Gio's going to be swinging hard on his first pitch because he feels like he's going to get at least one fastball here.
And misses high. That first pitch strike has disappeared for Zach Wheeler. That's not all that uncommon for him. 5 of his last 6 starts, he's thrown more first pitch balls than first pitch strikes. In fact, you see his first pitch strike percentage for the season is the lowest in the National League.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, you've got to be up in the 66% range with your first pitch strikes. It's just, that's the only way you can survive being one of the, quality pitchers in the league.
Gets ahead on Gio, 1-2. "30 pitches deep in this inning and still only 1 out. Anthony Rendon on deck. Two and two. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Gonzalez goes down swinging, and Wheeler has his 6th strikeout of the night. 2 out. Still has some work to do in this inning, with Anthony Rendon coming up.
Well, the way Gio's throwing, this is the out of the game here for Zach. You have to remind yourself it's been a tough inning, but it's only 2-0. It's only 2 runs if you can get through Rendon.
Rendon had a base hit to left field. That was the first Washington hit in the 3rd inning. First time through the batting order, Wheeler was completely dominant. Second time through has been a whole different story. Now Rendon up for the third time. He's the 8th man to bat in the inning. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Rendon bloops one foul. And now Wheeler, for the first time in an eternity, is ahead in the count.
The record's going to be on his toes here if they're going to bounce a breaking ball.
Moore is at third, Hairston at second, Espinoza at first, 2 out. And Rendon gets jammed, and it hit him, and that is going to force in a run.
You have to ask if he swung at first base, though.
He did not.
Okay.
First base umpire Tony Randazzo says no swing, so the hit batsman forces in the third run of the inning. Terry Collins is going to come out to argue the call. You can argue a hit by pitch. You cannot argue whether he swung or not in terms of challenging. You can discuss it, but you can't challenge whether he swung.
Just caught him on the knuckles of that right hand.
It's the 11th hit batsman of the season for Wheeler. He's in the top 10 in the league in hitting opposing batters.
I didn't think he swung the bat there.
I didn't think so either. So 3 hits, none of which were hit hard. 2 walks, a wild pitch, and now a hit by pitch. 35 pitches in the inning. 3 runs are in, and now Asdrubal Cabrera will be the 9th man up. Cabrera is 0 for 2, reached on an error and grounded out. Jason Worth, who got this inning started with an infield hit, now on deck. And Cabrera takes it low, ball 1. This is an anguishing inning for Zach Wheeler, particularly coming as it does in his last start of the year.
G had a tough time of it. First game, 5 innings pitched and 4 runs.
Cabrera pops one up. Murphy over the shoulder. Can he get there? He does. Nice play, Daniel Murphy, to get Wheeler through the inning. A 37-pitch inning for Zach Wheeler. And the Nats scored 3 runs. Murphy saves him any further anguish with a nice play. 9 men came to bat, and the Nats lead the inning with a 3-0 lead. Zach Wheeler in the 4th. So the Mets have some heavy lifting to do as they face a red-hot Gio Gonzalez in the 5th. Lucas Duda will lead it off, and we check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Oh, this is Zach Wheeler's last start of the year. We know that we won't be seeing Jacob deGrom anymore as he has been shut down. But what a year it was. And he told me there was a little bit of advice that kind of helped him get started. But he got up here ready to make his first start, takes him out, and Daniel Murphy came up to him and said, "You belong here." Not much of a saying by Murphy, but deGrom said, "I'll tell you what, that really meant a lot at the time. It calmed me down." And I kind of said, "Yeah, you know what, maybe I do belong here." And I really went back to that a couple times this year. So I really thanked Murphy for doing that. I told him that the other day. I asked him if he had been reflective of his season yet, if he thought back to what this has been like. And he said, there have been a couple things I've thought of. I mean, it's going to be an off season where I'm going to work harder than ever because why? As another strikeout, common theme tonight. He said, why? I'm going to work harder than ever because I want to stay here. He said, coming into this season, the invite to spring training was great. And I was kind of told that, hey, once you get here, hopefully you can stay here. But now that I'm here, I'm going to work as hard as I can. It'll be a busy offseason for deGrom. He's going to get married to his fiancée, Stacy. That's coming up. And I think, guys, back to the first time I talked to him this spring when I asked him to come and sit and do an interview with me. We were outside in the stands in Port St. Lucie. What a nice guy. When we all said and done, he said, "Hey, how did I do?" I said, "You did just fine." I think that kind of reflects his season, too. Guys?
I'd say he's done more than fine. It's been off the charts, and I think that Jacob has captured national attention in a way that nobody could have anticipated even a month ago.
Well, then he's going to need a tuxedo for two things: for the wedding and the New York Writers' Dinner.
Right, which is where they would hand him his Rookie of the Year award. We'll see. He said he's even thinking about cutting his hair. He said it's getting a little annoying.
Oh, really?
1-2 to Flores, and he drives one to right center. Over comes Worth, and he had trouble with the lights, but he makes the catch. Well, Worth clearly lost that ball on the lights as he went over on the backhand, but stayed with it. A mid-night's play.
It's that height that ends up in the lights. Remember last night, Den Decker, or the night before, had problems with the same kind of ball on left field. Worth stayed with it, put his glove where he thought the ball would be, and he found it.
And it's two fine outfield plays for the Nats in the last two innings. One by Hairston and now one by Worth. Gio Gonzalez with 9 strikeouts, matching his season high. He's just 2 shy of his career high. Never been a huge strikeout pitcher. This year has averaged about 1 per inning. Struck out 6 in a row, striking out the side in the 2nd and the 3rd. Anthony Recker would be next. And Granderson grounds one. Cabrera takes care of it. And Gonzalez has now retired 13 Mets in a row. Halfway through, 3-0 Nats. mask greater activity inside.
Yes. What a great symbol, huh?
Here's your Jeep fifth inning recap. Gio Gonzalez has been the story tonight. He has been marvelous. 9 strikeouts through 5 innings, only 1 blue pit. He's retired 13 in a row. Zach Wheeler was terrific for 3, and then he ran into the 4th when he threw 37 pitches and gave up 3 runs. Jason Worth, who led off the 4th, leads off the 5th as well and takes a strike. Worth hit a ground ball to Flores' right. Flores dove for it, but dove a little too far, and it trickled away for an infield hit, and that got the wheels rolling on what turned out to be a 3-run inning. Wilson Ramos on deck, and then Nate Schierholtz in the home 5th. Wheeler throwing what almost certainly will be his last inning of the season. That's been limiting their starters to no more than 110, and the way things have been going for Zach, it should be 5 and fly tonight. Meanwhile, in the American League Central race, Detroit leading by 2 games over Kansas City. The Tigers got early home runs from Victor Martinez and Miguel Cabrera to go up 3-0, but the Twins got 2 back against Max Scherzer, and it's 3-2 Detroit in the 5th. Just off the corner, 2-2.
Scherzer going for his 18th win tonight.
Meanwhile, big game James Shields on the mound for the Royals tonight in Chicago, and Kansas City leads 1-0 in the bottom of the 2nd. Curveball misses inside, 3-2. Yet another full count for Wheeler. And well outside to Worth, and that's how the 5th inning starts. Wheeler's 3rd walk.
I don't think Terry Collins is going to have too much patience. He's watching Gio throw. High pitch count. He's had guys warming up and ready to go.
So here's Ramos. Ramos grounded one through the right side for a base hit his last time up, and the Mets are making no accommodation to that. Flores still shaded toward the bag at second at double play depth. So again, the big hole is there on the right side for Ramos, and Wheeler throws a slider away for ball 1. Mentioned Kansas City leading. Kansas City and Oakland tied for the 2 wild card spots. Oakland is in Texas to play the suddenly red hot Rangers. No score there in the 3rd with Jason Hamill on the mound for the A's. Ramos chases 1-1.
Okay, he chased this one, so he gets to 1-1. On the first pitch, they called slider. Recker sat off the corner. That's not where he should sit off the corner on the first pitch. If you want to throw a slider to a hitter like Ramos, you can sit right in the middle of the plate, because he is not going to be swinging at a first pitch slider. He's got to look fastball off Wheeler.
Slowly hit foul.
Give yourself some margin for error. You know what I'm talking about, Gary?
Yep.
He sits on that outside corner. If he misses by 2-3 inches, it's a ball. Instead, sit in the middle, have that ball come to the middle, because hitters cannot sit on a breaking ball first pitch from Wheeler. You're going to get it's called a get me over breaking ball. Guys have been doing it for years.
One, 2 to Ramos. Again, way off the plate, 2-2. Oh, we mentioned Kansas City with that early lead. As soon as I said it, Josh Phegley hit his first home run for the White Sox, a 2-run shot.
PH or F?
PH, first major league home run off James Shields, 2-1 Chicago in the 2nd. That's Phegley. Over the mound, Tejada charges and throws out Ramos as Worth takes second. 1 out. Get a preview of Sunday's Jets-Lions matchup with a constant flow of up-to-the-minute news and opinion, plus fan discussions, player comments, and exclusive video on Jets blog, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports.
Who are your Jets playing this weekend, Gary?
It would be the Detroit Lions as they continue to work their way through the division. They played the Packers.
Yeah.
They played the Bears, and now they're playing the Lions. They're getting black and blue. Wide of first, Judah plays it to Wheeler in time to get Sherholtz for the second out as Worth goes to third.
Someone's going to have to guard that receiver for the Lions. I mean, he is unbelievable.
I don't know who that would be. Here's Tyler Moore, drove in the first run with the fielder's choice in the fourth inning. The Mets no runs and 1 hit. The Nationals 3 runs and 4 hits. And has gone from a pitcher's duel to a slog for Zach Wheeler in very short order. And another first pitch curveball that misses. Moore takes the fastball for a strike, 1-1. Even his easy innings aren't easy enough.
You know, you want to throw an 8, a 10, a 12 in there every once in a while. See, these are the things that, if you're the pitching coach, and I'm sure they're frustrating for Zach also, you know, the mistakes he's making are the same over and over. You know, the slider is in the same spot, a foot off the outside corner. Fastball command on the outside corner of the right-handers, not good.
Well, these are going to be the final few pitches that Zach Wheeler throws this season. Worth at third and 2 out. And he gets Tyler Moore on the curveball. Strikeout number 7 for Zach Wheeler, and that in all probability will be where Zach's season comes to an end. After 5 in Washington, Nats 3. Off after the bottom of the 5th inning, getting the handshakes. 5 innings tonight. A 3.54 ERA for the season and 185 in the 3rd innings. Anthony Recker swinging at the first pitch from Gio Gonzalez as we start the 6th inning.
I have a hard time shaking anyone's hand, right? The game. That's maybe more because it's the last start.
In the 1st inning, Gio Gonzalez struck out Eric Young to start the game, and then on the first pitch he threw to Daniel Murphy, Murph somehow dunked one into left field for a base hit. If not for that, who knows what we'll be watching right now. One well hit ball by Eric Campbell that was caught at the fence by Scott Hairston, but that was right after a rather lengthy break after Wilson Ramos got hit in a delicate spot. Gio's next pitch was the one Campbell hit. It saws off Recker and he fouls it off 2-2. But Gonzalez, the numbers reflect just how much in command he's been.
Yeah, it's like he has the ball on a string. Can throw all 3 pitches for strikes. And when he gets ahead of you, can honestly put you away with either one of those pitches. Gio's always talking to himself.
And record down on the fastball. A season high 10 strikeouts for Gonzalez. 1 out in the 6th. Let's check in with the studio. CJ Papa has a game break brought to you by your local Tri-Honda dealers. Well, more alive if Kansas City or Oakland were to lose tonight. Kansas City down 2-1 to the White Sox in the 3rd. Oakland scoreless in Texas, also in the 3rd. Ruben Tejada struck out his first time up.
Remember this winter, Seattle went out and got Logan Morrison and Corey Hart. They thought that was going to be the platoon at first base that was going to deliver some power.
Different look to Gio Gonzalez's pitch count than what we saw with Wheeler. And he falls behind on Tejada 3-1. Gonzalez has not walked about it tonight. He struck out 10. Now the 3-2, and Tejada fights it off. Alfredo Tovar has come out on deck to pinch hit for the Mets. Tovar, for the 2nd year in a row, was a very late September call-up. Ready for his first big league at bat of the season.
He's at home with this.
Ball forward to Tejada.
With his feet up on the ottoman every time they call him.
2 years in a row, Tovar was back in Venezuela, and, well, he's going back to the dugout. Now that the Mets have gotten a man on, they'll send up Josh Satin instead. So Tovar had his moment in the on-deck circle. See whether he gets a game before the season ends. Meanwhile, Daisuke Matsuzaka getting ready in the Mets bullpen.
Hat on.
Here is Satin, who pinch hit in the opening game of the doubleheader and struck out. Bats here with 1 out and 1 on in the 6th. And it kicks away from Ramos, and that'll get Tejada down to 2nd.
They'll probably call that a wild pitch, but that's a play that Ramos has got to make. Just kind of laziness there. Didn't block it, just tried to backhand it. This will be the first time that they've had to go to some signs. First guy on second base, right?
I guess that means there's nobody with binoculars out in center field.
Exactly. I'm going to recommend to Chris Sale that he go to the Spy Museum when he comes here. We showed that, right?
There you go. He needs the anti-spy equipment.
Right.
Counter spy. Satin fouls him away. Like in Mad Magazine, Spy versus Spy.
I used to love that magazine. Oh.
Devoured it every week.
Every week, right?
Every month, whenever it came out. Ball and 2 strikes to Satin. Well, Josh came out of spring training as an important part of this team. Part of a first base platoon with the 2 left-hand batting first basemen. But he just didn't hit the way he did last year and wound up back in the minor leagues for the bulk of the season. Tejada at second and 1 out. 1-2 coming to Satin. Struck him out. Good curveball by Gio Gonzalez, who's now matched his career high with 11 strikeouts.
Well, he is just overmatching these Mets today. Breaking ball that is just won't stop biting. Satin tries to pull his hands and get to it. He can't. Fastball is as good as we've seen it, 93 plus, and his changeup for a strike also.
So 2 out. Tejada still at second. Now Eric Young, who has struck out and flied out, 0 for 2. He tops one foul, 0-1. Well, the Mets put up 7 runs and 15 hits in the opening game of the doubleheader today. But a very different story in the nightcap against a locked-in Gio Gonzalez. Young hits one toward the gap in right center, but Worth ranging over to grab it. Side retired. Gio Gonzalez through the top of the 6th, working on a 1-hitter. Can you write me a declaration, Mr. Jefferson? 1962, they've been separated by divorce.
Okay.
Astros have strayed to the other side, but they're coming back for a visit starting tomorrow night. Mets and Astros tomorrow, 6 o'clock on SNY, and there are your pitching matchups. John Neese against Brad Peacock, who was traded for Gio Gonzalez.
That's right.
So that's the matchup tomorrow. Rafael Montero takes the start for Jacob deGrom. Samuel Deduno, the former Twin, takes the start for Colin McHugh. And Bartolo Colon against Long Island native Nick Tropiano on the final day Sunday. So there's your intrigue for the weekend.
The players that you want to come out and see, folks. Chris Carter, he's got as much power as anyone in baseball. And, of course, the great Jose Altuve, having one of the finest years in some time for a second baseman.
The littlest guy with the most hits.
Yep.
222 hits.
Is he 5'5"?
Maybe. The most hits for a second baseman since Charlie Gehringer in 1936.
Wow. That is something.
So Altuve will be there. Chris Carter and his 37 home runs will be there. The Astros are third in the American League in home runs. That's not their issue. Scott Harrison leads off against Daisuke in the home sixth and takes a strike.
What was Gehringer's nickname? It's one of the best of all time.
The Mechanical Man.
Yeah. Boy, I love that. They used to have some great nicknames. Not the same anymore.
Well, you had all the nicknames working tonight.
But that's not really any of their nicknames. It's just I use those nicknames.
Well, but everybody's nickname is something that somebody came up with at some point.
That's right. But once they find out I said it, then it's definitely not going to be used as a nickname. But
the Big Lebowski, Fred,
Blades,
Murph
is easy.
Popped up. Flores calling. Fred's got it. 1 out. Yeah, but you're right. They don't make nicknames like they used to. Like, what was Pepper Martin?
There's EY.
The Wild Horse of the Osage.
That's right.
Right.
And Grandy's an easy one. And then if your name is Campbell and you've ever been a baseball player, you have to be Soup.
Automatic.
It's like Holiday. You're always Doc.
You could be Chunky.
Oh,
but only if you were a certain body type.
That's right.
And then there's Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph. 1 out and nobody on. Danny Espinosa is 1 for 2. Flies 1 out to left, and over comes EY, and Daisuke has 2 quick outs. And Gio Gonzalez will take the turn at bat with 2 out and nobody on.
Who's the shortstop in the day? His name was Moranville, right? The Rabbit.
Rabbit Moranville. Pee Wee Reese.
The Scooter.
Now, it seems they do a better job with the nicknames in Japan, because remember when Hideo Nomo came over, he was the Tornado, because of the windup. Ryota Igarashi, Rocket Boy.
Rocket Boy, that's right, because he could throw hard and he was smaller in stature.
Before he got to the Mets, then something else happened. Gonzalez with the ugly cut, and it's 1-2.
See, now I would do the opposite of Gio. Gio walks out because he feels embarrassed because he swung at a bad pitch. I'd do the opposite. Just stay in the box, get this thing over with, so people won't laugh at you too long.
Get back to the mound where you belong.
Yeah.
Strike 3 called. Well, didn't get any better for him. 1-2-3 inning for Daisuke in relief, and that sends us off to the 7th. 3-0 Washington. Yes, the only 2 players in Mets history to be hit by a pitch 40 or more times. I assume Ron
Hunt's one of them. Yeah. Oh, David Wright.
Well, one that nearly changed his life.
Yeah. Well, that's that was David's whole career. Ron Hunt, it was 4 years, 63 to 66.
Well, after Ron left the Mets and went to the Expos, Ron Hunt set the all-time major league record for single season hit by pitch. He got hit 50 times in 1 year.
And no protective gear in those days.
No,
and he stood right on the dish, right?
Mm-hmm. And turned into the ball because he felt that was a good offensive weapon for him. Murphy rolls one out to short, and Espinosa throws him out, one away.
Now, in those days, because I didn't watch enough baseball, he's playing in the early 60s, so I was still a little young for watching the sport. He would stand right on the dish, but in those days, guys used to headhunt. I mean, would they headhunt him for doing that?
I don't remember well enough.
You remember, yeah.
But I know he didn't mind getting hit, and he had a whole system about how to get hit and where to get hit so that
you could stay in the lineup.
Exactly.
Wow. So he kind of would turn and catch most of them, like in the back or his upper arm or something, right?
Now, in those days, I mean, Frank Robinson got hit by a ton of pitches, but that wasn't because he was trying to. It's because he stood right on top of the plate and just as a matter of course.
Stand on the plate, but also some guys are trying to get him off the plate, so made the guys a little tougher in those days, I think.
And more recently, Don Baylor, and then even more recently, Craig Biggio.
And then Chase Utley in this group, in this generation.
There's ball 4, and Campbell's on with Gonzalez's second walk of the night. We'll see how much farther they intend to go with Gio. He's at 95 pitches. Nobody up in the bullpen. But as we mentioned, it's going to be, 12 or 13 days until Gio gets another start. So no reason to cut him off early.
So what's your pecking order for the Nationals as far as excellence in pitching? Do you have Jordan Zimmerman first, Strasburg second? Do you want to put Gio in between a couple of guys to split it up?
What they intend to do in their rotation in the postseason? I'm almost certain they'll go with Strasburg in game 1.
Okay.
And I say that even though I love Jordan Zimmerman, but Strasburg's a strikeout guy, and that plays in the postseason.
It does play. You're right. Okay.
I think Zimmerman number 2, then Fister kind of as a change of pace game 3, and then Gio. Now, if you're playing a team that's left-hand dominated, I can't think of a team in the postseason right now that is, then maybe you consider, moving Gio in the pecking order. Or if you just feel as though he's hitting his stride and he's red hot right now, maybe that affects your decision making.
Well, he is hitting his stride right now. This is honestly as good as I've seen Gio pitch, and I've seen him pitch a lot.
Bullpen gets started. Matt Thornton, the lefty. Aaron Barrett, the right-hander, up for the Nats. One-two to Duda. Struck him out. A career-high 12 strikeouts for Gio Gonzalez. Third time he's gotten Duda.
Well, the last time he struck out Duda was on 3 pitches, and here made it look easy. Breaking ball starts right at his shoulder, ends up 3 feet outside.
So a new career high for Gonzalez. And now Wilmer Flores with 2 out and a runner at first. Flores lined one to right center his last time up, but Worth, after losing it in the lights, was able to corral it. Worth made a couple of nice plays the last 2 innings to help out Gonzalez.
Boy, that Murphy hit looms large. I mean, you'd have some other decisions to make if you were Matt Williams, wouldn't you?
Not something he has to worry about now.
No. Maybe I mean, selfishly, not a good one for Gio, but maybe good for the ball club, you know?
Well, Gio's got this crowd revved up now. 1-2. Line to short, and Espinosa's got it. That retires the side. Gio Gonzalez working on a one-hitter through 7. Stretch time in D.C. That's up 3-0. Based on how you drive, not your credit score. Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well. By Wise Snacks. Game time is crunch time with an all-star lineup of Wise Snacks. And by Chevrolet, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. Austin Mahone is coming to Citi Field for a concert after the Mets Astros game this Saturday as part of the Mets concert series presented by Dwayne Reed. Catch Austin Mahone live in concert this Saturday. For tickets, visit Mets.com/concerts. Gio Gonzalez got a huge ovation as he walked off the field. Then he got the handshake from Matt Williams, so he's done after 7 brilliant innings tonight.
Well, that was, if you enjoy pitching, that was something to watch. He had it all working. They're hoping that he has one of those saved for the postseason.
Or several.
Yeah.
He allowed just 1 hit. Struck out a career-high 12 in his 7 innings of work. Daisuke Matsuzaka will work his 2nd inning of relief for New York as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Now here's an oddity. We had a day-night doubleheader today. This afternoon, there were maybe 1,000 people in the stands for most of the game. Tonight, a very well-attended game.
Yes.
The paid attendance for this afternoon's game was actually higher than the paid attendance for tonight's game.
How does that work?
Well, because it's the tickets that were sold for last night's game that get factored into the attendance for this afternoon.
Oh. I have no idea. It's like Nielsen ratings. It's all, you have no idea where it comes from, what it is.
Was George that much of a cool guy in real life?
I don't think so. He's a little He's a little moody, I think. I don't think he would have been out there with the people. Teddy would have been out there.
Bully.
Yeah. I've not seen. I know Ken Burns has his on PBS, the Roosevelts. I've DVR'd it. I've not seen it yet. I can't wait to check it out. Maybe tonight when I can't sleep from 3 to 6.
That'll be fun to watch. Anthony Rendon drops down a bunt. They'll never throw him out. Perfect bunt by Rendon to get the Nats started in the 7th.
He can do that too. I mean, is there anything this kid can't do? Pop, base hits, quick bat. If you play back, he'll take it. There's certain players you watch play and you say to yourself, you know, I don't know who taught him how to play the game, but whoever did taught him correctly. He's got a lot of great baseball instincts that are off the charts.
Came out of a terrific college program at Rice. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. There goes Rendon. The throw by Recker is not in time. And Rendon has a stolen base. So he showed off this part of his game. The bunt hit. Now his 17th steal of the year.
He's feeling a little feisty after a couple days off, right? These everyday players that it's such a grind, and when they have a day or two off, they come back loaded for bear.
So Rendon in scoring position with nobody out. 0-1 to Cabrera, who's 0 for 3 in this game. Again, Daisuke comes inside 2-1. Well, it was not a great last start of the year for Zach Wheeler. In fact, 2 of his last 3 were kind of bobbles. Yeah, and they were both against the Nats, not coincidentally. But the progress that Zach made over the last 3 months of the season was phenomenal.
I agree. You know, this can happen to a lot of pitchers, Gary. They have a solid year, which Zach had last year, and then they come into this year, and sometimes they stay the same or even occasionally make a half a step backwards because the league kind of figures them out, you know. That was not the case. You know, Wheeler early on had some struggles, but then got to a place where he was almost automatic in the sense that he would go 6 innings and wouldn't give up more than 1 or 2 runs. You know, his fastball command is something he's going to have to work on, and that's all, honestly, mechanics. You know, he's got about 6 moving parts. He wants to get that down to 4 if he can. And that's just hard work. Hard work, guidance from Dan Warthen. A lot of video work. I mean, I had to do the same thing, and it can be done. Just takes hard work, that's all.
Cabrera goes down on the changeup. Second strikeout for Matsuzaka. First out in the 7th.
Some of the problems you have when you're a young pitcher, Gary, is that you come into baseball with a lot of bad habits. And some of the habits start when you're really young. You know, if you happen to be a little kid, sometimes because you have such a great arm, you're trying to generate some more strength to throw as hard as you can and to develop some habits that stay with you for a long time that are bad habits. And you have to work those out.
There's Worth, who's been on base with a single and a walk, 1 for 2. Well, if you go back to the middle of June, when things kind of were at a rocky point for Wheeler, as Rendon is dancing off second and Daisuke ignores him and misses low. since June the 19th, including these two rough starts against Washington the last 2 weeks of the season, he finished over that stretch with a 2.93 ERA. I mean, he became an incredibly reliable guy, despite the fact that he still got some wrinkles to work out.
He was reliable, even though some games he's pitching uphill all game, So it tells you that, when he gets some things ironed out, some of it's confidence, because sometimes you pitch around the strike zone because you're kind of afraid of contact. He's going to get to a point where contact's going to be his friend, that he'll get some easy outs, as opposed to always fighting to get 2-2, 3-2 on every hitter.
Well, the other piece is you get spoiled when a Matt Harvey comes to the big leagues and enjoys instant success. A Jacob deGrom comes to the big leagues and enjoys instant success. And you forget that with most pitchers, it takes a couple of years to work out the kinks, even the most talented ones. And Wheeler certainly falls in that category.
Well, that'll be the most interesting part for Jacob, is that, at some point he will go through a 3 or 4 start stretch, or he can't get anybody out. It's happened to every pitcher that's ever laced him up. And it'll be, I think his demeanor will get him out of those tight moments better, because we saw him this year. When the things got toughest, he didn't get ruffled.
And that's what I think about when I think about deGrom. When you talk about having to go through adversity, he had lots of adversity during games, but he would always seem to have a knack for negotiating. He had the one in St. Louis where he wasn't able to, but really after that, every time he got in trouble, he's found a way through it.
Well, he has a maturity beyond his experience as a pitcher. Absolutely.
The pickoff try. They got him. The inside move by Daisuke with Rendon dancing off the bag. And Flores got over to put down the tag for the second out.
Well, that was interesting. I'm surprised that Matt Williams doesn't come out on this one. I thought he might have got his hand underneath. Well, interesting. Flores put his foot in front of the bag, kind of blocked him. Does he get the tag on him? I think the tag was late.
And Matt Williams is coming out.
Yeah, tag was late. And that was almost too long for Matt Williams, by the way. No. Can't change that.
It's close.
Yeah, but you can't change it.
And Matt immediately goes back, and he's not going to challenge.
Well, I'm marking it down. Rendon finally made a mistake.
You know why? Praised him too much.
Yeah. I did. I really worked with Clippard. I didn't praise him today, and it became he had a tough day to work on that.
3-1 to Worth with 2 out and nobody on. And the breaking ball misses, so Daisuke, after picking off Rendon, now is another base runner to contend with. Worth on base for the 3rd time tonight. And Wilson Ramos will come up with 2 out and a man on. That become like a thing here?
I think I like it.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Now they just have to keep him on the field so they can do that every day. I suppose this is going to turn into a crowd like the Oakland crowd.
Daisuke stretching out there. That's never a good sign. Daisuke's out there stretching like he has some tightness. No trainer. No one's even paying attention.
Kind of like with Yasiel Puig. Remember when we were in L.A.? He gets hurt every game.
Yeah, he does.
He's fine. Nobody even pays him any mind anymore.
I think the boy who cried wolf. That's exactly what he's got working on. working in L.A.
Matsuzaka ahead on Ramos 0-2 with Worth at first and 2 out. Bounces one and Recker knocks it down 1-2.
It's interesting that catchers all have different ways of doing it. Some get on 2 legs and block it. Recker's more of a gets on 1 knee.
More stretching.
And have a full Pilates program here behind the mound for Matsuzaka.
We don't need him to be going into downward facing dog before the end of the inning.
Well, I was just, what I was thinking. He picked off Rendon and then he's trying to pick off Worth. Tippy Martinez had an inning where he picked off 3 runners. Those are the 3 outs he got.
That's hard to do. There goes the runner. Ramos pops one up and Duda calls for it. That retires the side. So helped by the pickoff, Daisuke gets through 2 scoreless innings. Off to the 8th we go against the Nats bullpen. Mets down 3-0. That's now 6-0 in that 7th inning. So the Pirates look well on their way to a victory tonight in Atlanta. So the Bucks, if they win, will be just a game behind the Cardinals in the National League Central going into the final weekend.
They had a big celebration, didn't they, for getting in?
We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Nate Scherholtz moves over to left field. Michael Taylor comes into play center, and Matt Thornton will pitch the 8th inning for Washington.
Well, Thornton's had a pretty great career. Did most of his best work in a Chicago White Sox uniform. Pitched for the Yankees to start this season. Verizon Fios numbers.
Curtis Granderson leading off in the Mets in the 8th. Mets thrilled to see Gio Gonzalez out of the game, and Granderson banks one off more. The pitcher Thornton didn't cover, and so Granderson has himself a hit. Well, not the first time in this series we've seen a pitcher fail to cover first base.
Every once in a while I'm embarrassed to be part of the fraternity. Anything hit to the right side, kids. Get over there to first base. Tough to get outs. When your first baseman lays out, tries to make a great play for you, and you become a spectator, it's it's paying him no respect. That's how I always felt.
Well, we saw the exact same thing happen to Bartolo Colon, and it basically cost him the game here on Tuesday night. See if the Mets can similarly rally around that infield hit by Granderson. Anthony Recker, the batter. So the Mets have just their second hit of the night. Recker went up twice against Gio Gonzalez and came away struck out each time. So I kind of understood it last year when the Pirates made the playoffs for the first time in 2 decades.
Yeah,
that they
20
had
years.
a big celebration, even though they didn't win their division. The big celebration of being in the postseason, especially when you still have a chance to win your division, I find a little bit odd.
Yeah, I would personally. Now, listen, this is going to sound like a bah humbug moment, but to me, you really haven't accomplished anything. I know that you're in the playoffs. That's great.
Little flare, and Cabrera grabs it for the first out.
But there's so much more work to be done. So, you know, two things. One, to celebrate like that, I think belittles the division race you're trying to run in. Secondly, you know, there's a lot of consumption of you know, alcohol during those kind of things. So next night you're not always playing your best lineup. I don't know. I would have had a more sublime one. Shake each other's hand, lots of hugs, maybe a little bit of champagne, but really have a talk with my team. If I was manager, says, hey boys, let's get to division. Then we'll really celebrate, you know? So, but it's going to sound like bah humbug to most young players today.
I think it really depends on the team. I think if you've been there before, then simply clinching a postseason berth when you haven't actually won a title of anything, I would think that would lead to a little more muted celebration.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened in the past. You know, teams that are accustomed to being in the postseason don't react as boisterously to simply getting in the postseason.
And the wild card, the way it's set up now, you could have one and be playing golf the next day, you know? I mean, the emphasis today, because of the 2 wild cards, and I think rightfully so, is put back on winning the division, because that way it ensures you 5 games to try to get it right, as opposed to 1 game in a game of baseball that any team can beat any other team on one day, on any given day.
And you have 2 teams in the postseason, one of whom is not going to the division series. Right? So,
yeah,
you know, being in the postseason is great. Being there for 1 day, not so great. As you know, the Cincinnati Reds can tell you from last year.
Pittsburgh, incidentally, is the only team to hold serve in that wild card game of 1 at home. The away teams have won the other games.
Trying to think in the couple of years we've had this, has a team that won the wild card game gotten through the next round?
Pittsburgh didn't. They lost to St. Louis last year.
Right.
They had St. Louis on the ropes, but Walker was unbelievable.
Hit sharply off the knee of Espinosa and into left field. And so a couple of bank shots for the Mets to start this 8th inning, and they've got a couple of men on with 1 out.
Well, this ball was hit awfully hard by Tejada, right on the nose. And it skips. And Espinosa never could really get his glove down. I wish I could tell you, folks, how fast that ball is moving when it hits an infielder like that, like Espinosa.
Waiting to see the scoring. Meanwhile, Bobby Abreu is going to bat for the pitcher. Mets getting the tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning.
That's got to be a hit.
I would think, but they have yet to post it. So we're waiting to see.
Ruben's looking. Look at him.
He wants to know.
Oh, well, he doesn't want to look now. I'll tell you that.
Scored in an E6. That's a tough error.
See, most players would be kind of subtle about it, not letting you know that they're looking. But you're peeking up there, like, and then once you see it, you got to be kidding me.
When you're hitting under 240,
yeah,
sometimes you got to beg.
I'm with them.
Nothing has come easily for Ruben the last couple of years. Abreu appeared as a pinch hitter in the first game today, broke his bat, and hit one to shallow center that Michael Taylor made a nice sliding catch on. Cadillac drive around the majors. We mentioned the Pirates up 6-0 behind Edison Volquez in Atlanta. The Tigers got early home runs from Victor Martinez and Miguel Cabrera. So far, Max Scherzer has made it hold up 4-2 going to the 8th. And the Royals up 3-1 behind James Shields. It's now 3-2. Actually, they're down 3-2.
Yeah, down 3-2.
That's a call strike to Abreu. I was miscounting the Josh Fegley with a PH home run.
Nickname Balance.
The PH was acid to James Shields.
Thornton just checked on who he has, if a comebacker to him for a double play.
One, 2, and Abreu takes it down. 2-2. Eric Young waiting on deck.
I asked Bobby if he developed his ability to differentiate balls and strikes, if he always had a good eye. He said, I've had my eye since I was 6 years old. Always could tell balls and strikes.
Now that's a gift. Driven toward left center field. Over toward the gap goes Scherholtz, and he runs it down. Well, Abreu hit that ball hard. That's 3 very hard hit balls in this inning.
Thornton's an interesting left-hander because he's going to have to get some big outs in the postseason. His issue is throws hard enough, but he's unique in the sense that his breaking ball is not his best pitch. Fastball is his best pitch, and as he's gotten older, it's gotten straighter.
So 2 out and 2 on, and now Eric Young, who's 0 for 3 in this game. Struck out and flied out twice against Gio Gonzalez. Granderson at second, Tejada at first with 2 down. Chops one. Thornton off the mound and guns down Young to end the inning. Mets leave 2 in the top of the 8th. 3-0 Nats in D.C. Ronnie still owes Chris ice cream from this afternoon, and it is Kevin Burkhardt's last night, and I'm sure the commercial is in the works. Maybe Chris has got an exclusive. Can't wait to see.
I can't wait to watch Kevin walking outside the stadium. That's going to be an interesting.
Is he going to do a lap like Jeter?
That'll be an interesting piece. That
actually, he already had his lap. The Shea Bridge moment last week was fantastic.
That was great. He's it really shows you all the love that people, not only the fans, but of course us in the booth, have for our Kevin. Gonna miss him when he's in, but it's not like he's slumming. He's out there on the beach in California. Whoa, nice.
I have no doubt he'll be fine. Scherholtz drives one deep to right center, and Campbell got it in his glove but couldn't hold on, and Scherholtz pulls in at second base. Nice running effort by Campbell, just couldn't seal the deal.
He took the right angle, and he had it, and it hit right in the middle of his glove, not in the pocket. Hit him right in the palm. So when it hits the palm, it hits the harder part of your hand, and the glove doesn't close. It kind of hits hard and bounces out. So just missed catching that ball where he wanted to.
Now, if they didn't give Tejada a hit, are they going to give Scherholtz a hit?
This will definitely be a hit, Gary. This will be a double for Mr. Scherholtz here in Washington for the Washington Nationals player.
They have yet to post it. They're thinking. There's cogitation. Now it's a double.
Thank you.
Okay, here's Tyler Moore. And he gets drilled by Herman. So Gonzalez Herman's thrown 2 pitches. One was driven for a double. The second one drilled Tyler Moore.
Now, what's not funny, if you're the Nationals team, and that looked like he just caught his jersey. Said Rendon was hit early in the game. You'd hate to lose one of your players because of hit by pitch.
Now Michael Taylor will come up for the first time in this game. Took over defensively in the last half inning. Taylor started the first game in center field, went 1 for 5, drove in a couple of runs. First and second and nobody out. Espinoza on deck. See if Taylor's asked to bunt, and he is, and takes it up and away for ball 1.
It's the right play. It's only 3-0. You want to try to add on a run if you can, if you're the Nationals. What does Herman do in this? After he releases the pitch, bust over to that third base line. Can sometimes get that out at third base.
And Taylor bunts it foul. Very uneven season for Gonzalez Herman. Was with the team earlier in the year, got sent down, got a virus that kept him out for a month, came back to the big leagues, got hammered. Very inconsistent. 2 balls and a strike to Taylor. Daisuke Matsuzaka gave the Mets 2 scoreless innings of relief behind Zach Wheeler. And Herman running into immediate trouble here in the 8th. And Taylor just trying to get out of the way as he fouled off that bunt attempt. 2-2.
Another same pitch that was thrown to Moore, up and in to Taylor. Couldn't get the bat out of the way in time.
You certainly don't expect him to be bunting with 2 strikes, but the Mets still are in at the corners. And he is bunting, and he fouls it off for strike 3. Never squared. They're running up in motion as though he's trying to bunt for a hit.
Well, he'll be told by his manager later about that mistake. You know, some at-bats, or most at-bats, are for you. Some at-bats are for your team. And he did not give himself up.
So 1 out. Now it's Espinosa.
That's one of those, after the game, you're sitting near your locker and one of the coaches comes over and says, hey, Skip wants to see you. And you go in there and he'll let you know.
Espinosa 1 for 3 in this game. Singled to center back in the 4th. Ryan Zimmerman has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter. Zimmerman started the first game today, but maybe it will be that his role in the postseason will be to come off the bench, something he's not done often in his career.
What a weapon.
Well, the question is, will he be able to adapt to that role?
Well, the great thing about Ryan Zimmerman, and I know you know him a little bit, Gary, is just you don't get a better human being than Ryan. And sometimes adapting that role is all about, are you a team player or not a team player? And I think, you know, because of the injuries he suffered, you know, you can resort yourself to the fact that, you know what, the team's rolling. I don't want to get in the way of that, but I do want to be there to help. And he's that kind of player. Always has been, team first kind of guy.
I think that's without question, but I just wonder, a guy who's used to playing every day, physically preparing yourself, mentally preparing yourself for that one at bat when you're not in the rhythm of the game, sometimes can be problematic.
I think you're absolutely right. The one thing he has in his advantage is that he has beaten a lot of closers, not only for the Mets but others, late in games. So he has that to bank on if he gets those tough at bats late in games.
That's a good changeup from Herman, and he gets even on Espinosa 2-2.
As good a changeup as anyone on the Mets staff has. It's fastball command for Herman. That's his problem, because that can only be set up if the hitter is worried and aware of that good fastball.
Two from Herman. Grounded down to first. Duda gets the out at second and no return throw. So they get the middle runner. Moore is erased, 3-6. And now with first and third and 2 out, Zimmerman comes up.
Well, nice job by Duda, and even better job by Tejada. Hold that ball. Don't throw it to the pitcher at first. There was no play there. You see how he's beloved here.
We've really seen this throughout this series. Guy who has missed a ton of time this year. He broke his thumb early in the year, then he had the hamstring injury later, and has come back here late in September, just trying to be some kind of positive factor for the team that he struggled as the leader of through so many difficult years early in his career. First and third and 2 out. Zimmerman went 1 for 4 this afternoon, and he takes low and inside from Herman. I mean, think about it. The Nationals are where they are now because they sunk to such depths.
Yeah.
5-6 years ago, that they were able to draft Strasburg #1 and able to draft Harper #1 because they had the worst record those 2 years. And Zimmerman was the best player on all those Nationals teams. Craig Stammen if there's no save opportunity. Drew Storen if there is.
Stammen, he was drafted the same year as Zimmerman, 2005.
Your men behind 2-0. You walk Zimmerman, you jump out of the frying pan and into the fire. Anthony Rendon on deck. 2-0 changeup. Nice pitch.
Sitting on a fastball, of course. Every hitter is on the 2-0 count. Nice counter by Herman with a changeup.
Two-one. To the fastball by him at 95. 2-2.
Always a good choice. After you fool the guy with a changeup, come right back with the fastball. Because in the back of his mind, he's thinking you might throw another one.
Kansas City just tied up the White Sox on an Eric Hosmer home run in the 6th inning. 3-3.
Only his 9th or 10th home run of the season.
2-2. In tight. Full count to Zimmerman. That'll set Espinosa in motion at first base.
Well, this is almost, if you're a betting person, 8 to 80% chance this is going to be a changeup.
For sure. That's how he makes his living.
The wiggle, there it is. Shook him off.
How about that? 3-2. Line caught by Duda. Side retired. Well, Zimmerman hit it hard. That pitch away his bread and butter. But Herman survives in the 8th inning. On to the 9th. 3-0 Nets. It's got a hit against Matt Thornton in the 8th. Now it's Drew Storen to pitch in the 9th, bidding for his 2nd save of the series. Daniel Murphy leads off for New York, and he takes just off the corner for ball 1. Murphy, Campbell, and Duda for the Mets against Storen.
With Storen's Verizon Fios stats, inherited runners stranded, not very good, and left-handed hitters hitting pretty well against the closer at 256.
Took over from Rafael Soriano as the Nats closer after Soriano had a string of difficult outings capped by that game against the Phillies when he gave up the game-tying home run to, of all people, Ben Revere with 2 out in the 9th. That was the last straw for Matt Williams. And they finally pulled Soriano from that role and put Storen back in it where he had come from 2 years ago.
You give up a home run to Ben Revere, you're out.
Well, it's only the second one he'd ever hit. Storen gets even on Murphy with the changeup.
Ben's had a nice year, though, hasn't he?
They have changed the scoring decision on the ball hit by Tejada in the 8th inning. They've taken away the error from Espinosa, and they've now given Tejada a hit. I wonder if he knows that, having looked at the scoreboard as much as he did to try and find out in the first place.
He knows. Hitters are very good at that.
Instant appeal?
Yes.
So the Mets now have 3 hits. Can we show that Ford box score again? 2-2. And Murphy down swinging for the first down of the night.
It was one of those sliders that kind of backed up on Storen. Murph expects it to break more into the zone, and it just stayed on the outside. Murph's been always very good in his career fouling that pitch off to get to another one. Just missed it, though.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Kirk Neuenhuis is going to bat for Eric Campbell. Campbell went 0 for 2 and a walk. Neuenhuis started the first game of the doubleheader today, was 2 for 5, a single and a double. That's had 15 hits in the opener and won 7-4. They've been held to 3 hits in the nightcap. And it's bounced to the left side. Espinosa the overhand throw, 2 out. So the Mets are down to their final out of the night. In the rubber game of this series, in their final road game of the season. And Lucas Duda will be trying to avoid the dreaded golden sombrero. I saw a note tonight that Ryan Howard had his 25th career golden sombrero.
Wow. 25.
That's a lot of air.
I just saw that Albert Pujols just had his first in his career. Change up first pitch to Duda.
In for a strike, and the Mets are down to their last strike of the night. Oh, 2 coming. Ball and 2 strikes to Duda. Taken low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Detroit has won their game. Max Scherzer his 18th win. Tigers 4, Twins 2. Their magic number is down to 2. 2-2 from Storen, and Duda fouls it off.
White Sox have been playing tough down the stretch, haven't they? Texas Rangers have been playing tough. Teams that have struggled all season long.
Ah, the spoiler role.
Yes.
Mets are home tomorrow night to host the Astros. Co-expansionists reuniting. Two, and Duda down swinging to end the game. Storen with a 1-2-3 ninth to secure it for Gio Gonzalez. The Nats gain a split of the day-night doubleheader, and they take the rubber game of the series, and they finish the year 15-4 against the Mets, as Gio Gonzalez was the big story tonight.
He really was. Mets struck out 14 times, 12 times against Gio Gonzalez. That's a career high for Gio. Just not enough against Matt Williams' team. Gio was on top of his game. They got a little bit of offense and some wildness from